All right, we're going to hop on to what's been dubbed Shane's pirate death ship. And with that comes the hat. Okay, it's essential. And I'm going to try to apply it a little better. Usually I apply it very high to my head. It looks pretty dorky. So the lights on our death ship, we're going to start with our semi-soft Kino Flow Celeb. We also have our hard light K Fresnel. Bam! Okay, and then we have our soft light, which is our 750 bouncing into a circle bounce. All right. Why a circle bounce? Well, because I feel that this is a pretty organic shape. I always hate when I see in actors' eyes that square bounce or that rectangle bounce. So what I do is I make these things called the shield or the circle bounce. Arg, Sparta! I'm switching genres like crazy. I went from 300 to Johnny Depp's Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay. This is beadboard, which is a foam insulation that some crazy grip said, this looks nice and soft. Let's try this. And then on the back side is foam core. So with this, I love this reflected in the eyes. The eye is round, so I think the bounce should be as well. When I'm keying people, like day exteriors, I use these. I always know when the grips have worked with different types of cameraman. Some guys, when they go in for the bounce, it's like this, okay, and they walk with them. I do this because I don't like to fill underneath people's chins. So all the grips are always up like this, filling in. Now, we're going to do a neighborhood exercise, okay? This is encouraging groups of 3 to talk to each other. So if you notice your table, there's just 3 of you. It lines right here. You're the neighbors. So when you're looking up at this light study, you're looking at which quality do you like, which angle and which height of the light is best for our beautiful model's face. So let's bring out our model. So why don't you have a seat right there. Okay, now what we're going to do is this light study is set up like a clock. When you look up here, there's times on the clock. The camera is at 6 o'clock, and we're going to be moving the light around, analyzing the light on her face, and adding light to the background, looking at different diffusions, looking at light control, all this stuff that I look for when I am lighting a face. Now, a lot of people have said, this is really great, Shane, but, people move. And I go, absolutely, but you have to understand how to light a face first, and then you can understand how to light them while they're in motion. But when it's all said and done, if you look at any movie, a lot of the times they move to a place and they have an amazing conversation. And so there's a lot of static mixed with the motion, and that's what we're going to go through now. So what's going to happen is I'm going to call up the crew, okay? So I need a camera operator. Perfect. Rob, you hop up there. Why don't you frame up on her, give me a nice kind of collarbone shot on her face. I need a focus puller, first AC. Great. You hop up there. What do we got? Rob and Austin, that's right. So they're going to mark out. I need a dolly grip. Great. Kevin, correct? All right, you're going to hop on the dolly. I need a gaffer. Gaffer. Anyone wants to be a gaffer? Okay, back there. What's your name, sir? Jim. Jim's going to be our gaffer. I need a key grip. The key grip is going to be doing a lot of work. So if you like to do a lot of work, that's who I want. Perfect. What's your name, sir? Kyle, come on up. Now I need somebody that's going to do the color checker and the slate. Slate person. Great. What's your name? Matt? All right, come on up here. Okay. All right, so we're going to first start with bringing our light around to 3 o'clock. So Kevin, and when you're dealing with this, it's the light that is at 3 o'clock, not the dolly. Make sure you give me 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, all like that, halfway in between. So right now we're at 3 o'clock, okay? And we're going to first start to take this journey, and then I'm going to employ and deploy you to do all these things. Now, I've given you guys the Flanders so you can look at, so you don't have to necessarily look at that. So let's start with a little fill, because obviously this is kind of a stark scene. So Jim, why don't you hop over there, and you are going to snap on our KinoFlow 400. There, hit that button. Okay, great. All right, now what's the color temp on that thing? Hit it again. 4,200. So let's go to like 36. So go on the dial right there and dial that down to 3,600. I like my fill a little cooler than what my key light is. Okay, so that's 3,600. Is that 36 you got there? All right, let's see what that thing is reading. Okay, 3610. Very nicely done, Jim. Okay, now what's our level? Now click the button again. That's right there. Now you got dimmage. So what are you at there? 99.6, okay? This is where you pull out your light meter, and you just kind of get ratios, right? Just get yourself in the ballpark. I would say, let's make her ratio 3 stops down. We're looking at a 2.8 and a 1.4. So right now we only have 2 stops down. So let's give me 3. So keep on coming down on that fill. Down, down, down. Way down. Okay. Oh. Let's see, we're 2.8, so that's 1, 2, 3. Come back up a little bit. Up, up, up. Up, up, up. Okay, good. All right. So that's about 3 stops down. Okay, that's looking good. So we got kind of our ratios in the pocket. Now that is at 3 o'clock. So what I'm looking at right now is what I call the eye shadow, where her eye socket is actually shadowing the side of her nose right there, which is kind of an imperfect light. And there's times where I'm going to show you that using imperfect light is very important to creating the emotion of a scene. It can give you a damaged look, kind of broken, depressed, right? We're not always trying to make everyone look beautiful, and we'll go into that a little later. Okay, so Kevin, let's come around, and Jim, give us some times as he starts to move. You're going to start to come frontal. Okay, so this is what we call eye shadow. And hold there. Go back. Right there. Okay, that's what I would call the perfect half light. There's no light in her eyes. We just barely took it off of her cheek on this side, so she's not having any light come in from her cheek. It's perfect side light, and we have the fill in her eye as well as our key light in her eye. Now, using a half light like this, you can get a very unique mood with a little diffusion. So if we want to clear up like what we're seeing on her forehead, let's bring in some half soft frost. So Kai, you're the key grip, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and grab that 4x half soft frost, and you're going to hold that in. Okay. All right, go ahead and bring that in. Now where, I want to see where you would put that if you were going to diffuse the source. Okay, that's kind of right. You see our shot here, right? So you want to come in as close as you can, right next to camera with this, okay? So now this becomes the source and the light becomes irrelevant, right? Now this is our soft source. Now bringing that in, just like that, we've gotten a little more wrap in her eye, and it's kind of helped a little bit on her forehead. But is she in focus? Let's snap in focus there, Austin. She's not, there we go. Okay, wonderful. All right, now let's bring in half grid cloth to even soften it even more. Okay, so that's definitely wrapped and creamed out her skin even more. And as we're still a nice drop shadow underneath her chin, but we've now taken a half light and became almost like a 3/4 frontal by not even moving the light, but by using diffusion. Now, let's continue to go around. So fly the diffusion out, and we'll go to the point where I call the wedge. And what time was that, our half light? 3:30. Okay, let's come around and hold. Okay, go back a little. Okay, we're creating what some people call the Rembrandt patch. I call it the wedge because you're creating this wedge of light here. So now with her eye socket on her right side, it's barely getting into her eye. So let's lower the source, Kevin. So go ahead and boom down on that light a little bit. The death ship cometh. Batten down ye hatches, Larry. Okay, hold. All right, so now we got that glimmering in her eye a little better, which is really nice, just by lowering the light a little. Okay, now let's bring in the half soft frost, and by coming frontal, more around, we've kind of taken what was happening on her forehead, and we've made it not so not so side lit and not so aware of her forehead. Okay. All right, that looks very beautiful. That's half soft frost. Now the difference between half soft frost and light grid cloth. Half soft frost you can see is kind of a silvery shower curtain kind of diffusion. It still keeps the direction of the light. It doesn't soften it and diffuse it in ways that you really don't feel as much light direction, okay? Now let's see the light grid cloth there, Kai. Half grid, I'd call it. All right, now you're going to see this really creams that diffusion out even more and makes lowers the contrast. Now, what Kai's doing is what I call Hollywooding. Okay, it's very important to, when you're looking at different diffusions, to not necessarily go in there and set all the C-stands and everything. You want to Hollywood it, which is you handhold it. You become the human C-stand. All right, so this is what we call the wedge position, which, Jim, what time is it? 4:30. So 4:30 is our wedge. And let's go ahead and fly the diffusion out. And now let's come around a little more. We're going to go to the nose shadow position and hold. Okay, there's our nose shadow. Now, what's happening? We got a lot of light flying around in the background. So this is where we need our light control. Okay, and we're going to also slate this because now we're going to start shooting and rolling. So, Kai and Jim, why don't you help in this? You need to control that light off of this wall. So we're going to need to set a big floppy, which I'd love for you to do. And then we're going to need to set a 2x6 blade so we can kind of take the fill light off of there as well. I started out as a key grip. And a key grip, learning what that incredible technician does is the kind of building blocks of being a cinematographer. There's two things that a key grip's responsibilities are that you can then take as a director of photography. One is moving the camera. I was a key grip, I was a dolly grip, understanding the emotion of a move, understanding how you're listening to the dialogue and you are becoming that audience's view and being able to push in and understanding what's going on in the scene and just the emotion of motion. The second is the power of shaping light, is everything. Contrast is so important as being a cinematographer. So that's what we're doing right now. We are creating this. So, what do you guys got going on over here? Let me see here. Now we need to flop this. Okay. We'll need to move this in here so we can get this really off the background. Okay. All right. And we're going to set this and then flop it. You want to set your C-stand. Do we have ourselves set up for success? Let me kind of give you a little intro on some C-stand rules. Okay. Why do they call it a C-stand? Century. 100 ways you can use it. All right? This is probably, as a grip, as a gaffer, as a cinematographer, this is the most powerful tool in your toolbox. This thing can do anything, but there's some rules. You never grab a C-stand like this, ever. Because when I grab it from you, I'm going to do that. Ouch. At a break your knuckles. So you always hand it to somebody like this, and you grab it like that as well. Okay, so that way we don't hurt anyone. When you're setting your flags, you always want to set it over the tall leg. That bears the most weight. And there's also this rule, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Okay, this is right. When it falls with the weight, it actually tightens itself. If you set it backwards, it will do this and fall and knock someone out. We don't want to do that. Okay? So, I'm now going to go over and inspect their work, which looks dodgy at best. Okay, so let me see here. You have that you got the large leg, that's good. Just have a little rotation thing here. So let me bring it down, okay? You never want to work over your head, okay? So when you're also raising a C-stand up, see, this is this funky, there we go. Now we got it. All right, now we nail that. Okay, so you find a lot of people do this kind of stuff. They go up on the big riser, okay? And that's all wonderful. But then what do? It's not high enough. Go up higher. Well, you've just burnt your big riser. So now you're working up over your head trying to do this. So you always start with the small riser, which you bring this one up first, get that kind of in a nice place, and then, I like it a little higher. Oh, okay, you got it. Ooh. And you're working it right here, not all up over your head and stuff, okay? All right, nice. We've got, look at that background, dark. That's contrast. Look at her, she's literally popping off the screen now, where before she was all mixed within the background. Now we can start to add light to our background if we'd like to kind of just accent one side or the other. So right now, her face is lit from the camera right side. but her hair is dissolving into the background. So now let's pop on the batten on the left side there. Okay, so now, yeah, come on down, 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 right there. So now we're lighting in layers. You light the face, you're adding that first stroke with the key light, and now we're using just illuminating the wall, whether that would be a practical, whether it's some kind of sun source coming in, but you're controlling it in a way that her face that's lit on this side is darker, the background, and the downside of her face, we're using some light to bring it off. Light and shadow, very important with the whole cinematography and how you're positioning these lights. Okay, so right now we have a nose shadow, right? Her nose shadow is basically on her face. So let's see what half soft frost does. Okay, all right. Now let's get our color checker in there and our slate. Where did that go? Okay. So when you're doing the checker, you want to position it into the key light. So you would position it somewhat like that, so you'd be angled into the key light, but then you're going to kick it down so we don't get those reflective right now. See how I get that reflective stuff? We don't want that. That's not good, right? So we need to angle it down, angle it like that, and now we have a good thing to expose with all of our different colors. So go ahead and roll. Okay, now go ahead and slate. IE Tour 2014 Market. Oh, so nice. All right, so we got that going for us. Okay, so we've done that. Now, we have half soft frost in, which has pretty much eliminated that nose shadow, right? It's softened it fairly nicely so we don't fly it out. See, there's our nose shadow. Now bring it back in. I told you were going to be working, man. Okay, there we go. Still keeping the direction of the light. What I find with the half soft frost is it has a very pearlescent reflection in her eye. Okay, and you can decide whether that's what you want, or let's go with half grid cloth. Okay, come in a little closer and a little higher. Okay. Let me see here. You're making it thick, right? You want to match the angle of the light, all right? Okay, so now that has eliminated the nose shadow altogether. The reflection in her eye is not as bright. It's taken down. But what I want to illustrate here is how important it is to keep the source. If you're now using your light grid cloth, and now that has become your light source, that you keep realistic to the height of this light. So this light is around, 8 feet high. You would not want to set your diffusion low. So go ahead. Now watch what happens underneath her chin. So kind of slowly move it down, Kai. See how it's lowering that contrast under her? Now move it up. See? Move it down. See that? Move it up. And down. And up. And down. Give me the squat. I want to see some squat. Get some squats. Come on. Okay. All right. So we're doing this in a way that it's very important where you set that diffusion. A lot of times you come in there, you might be doing things fast. You set it in because that's where it kind of fell in the C-stand, but you always want to go back. Now raise that up. That's where you kind of want it. The drop shadow is your contrast as well as this downside of her light. On her face. So we don't want to lose that beautiful contrast there. Very nice. All right, remove the diffusion. And what time is the nose shadow? 4:35. 4:35? Wow, that was... Okay, He's so on point and accurate. That's what I expect. Very tight. Okay, so let's come around a little more. Now we're going to go for this drop shadow on this side in a very frontal kind of light. Let's boom up now, Kevin. I'm going to take you up in the height because we've come more frontal, so we definitely have it in her eyes. Very nice. But what we want to create is, see that nice drop shadow underneath there? That's what we're looking for. Keep on coming, Kevin. Oh, max your thing out. Great. Okay, now keep on coming around. Okay, what time is that? 5:30. Okay, 5:30. All right, let's whip that half grid cloth in. And David, I want to see a before and after on the half grid. Okay, so get ready on this. So now he's going to bring that in. Okay, and remember we want to match the angle. So you're going to come like that. There you go. Because see, when you go like this, you're actually thickening the diffusion. Got it. Okay? And there's absolutely times when you want to do that, but right now we want to get as much light as we can on her. So now we have a really nice reflection in her eye. We still have our drop shadow on her face. And, okay, give it to me, baby. Ooh, look at the slate. Okay. Now, obviously, when we put the light grid cloth in, it's taking, a stop down. But what you really look at is the shadow line. And this is a soft source. This is a bounce. We haven't even gotten to the hard light yet. So with this bounce light, we're creating what we would call a book light, where you're firing a light into a bounce, and then you're now diffusing it. So you can see how much more detail and in the shadow areas, it's softened that line extreme. So now let's try this with half soft frost. And now give me a side-by-side with half soft frost once we get that in there, David. When I use book lights, I like using half soft frost because you can, and then come out a little closer so you're softer to her. Yeah, right there. The reason being is this only drops it about a third to a half a stop. When you're doing day exteriors, I get this question asked a ton. What do? The sun obviously is rising and it's going up above, and I got the lights very hard, and they're definitely going to be, front lit at some point. Well, what I try to do is shoot all my wides and in as early in the morning or in late as the day as possible, so you can play the scene in backlight, right? Then that light can either stay in the backlight position and you fill with, ultra bounces or the shield. And if it needs to be in a front lit scenario or more of a half lit scenario, but now the sun is way overhead, what I end up doing is I use half soft frost. It only takes a third of a stop out. So you're not diffusing it like full grid cloth or half grid cloth, which is like, where did that look come in? It still shows the directional quality of the sun, but softens it so the eye sockets aren't so extreme. Then you come in with a little shield, and now you've kind of faked something that would be kind of lit from the side. And then with some negative fill like these floppies, you're creating the contrast that it would if it was side lit, but the light is too high and it's not getting into their eyes. So using these types of scenario of negative fill and floppy flags, half soft frost that Kai is going to hold for another 3 hours and he's going to love it. It's all these things help and assist with day exteriors. So why I like this light quality right now is look at how she just beams. Give me side by side. Oh yeah, ring of fire. Okay, so compared to the light grid cloth, so let's do this legitimately for a second. So we have the half soft frost. Just take down the exposure a little bit. So stop down to like a 4, so we can just base it. All right, that's pretty good right there. Okay, now let's go record that, David. Open up a little bit, 2/8 and 8/10. Okay, all right, now give Kai the light grid, half grid. These are all Roscoe products that I use. This is grid cloth. Okay, now let's open up our exposure. Okay, and maybe go to 2000 ISO. There we go. Okay, now give me side by side. Okay, all right. Yeah, so the exposures match a little better there. Okay, what I love about the half soft frost is it's, again, keeping that light direction. This is lower contrast under her chin, but this is where you can bring in the white card here and you can lower your contrast. Let's get rid of the light grid cloth, half grid, and go with the half soft frost. Where are you going, Freddie?
I was freeing up my grid here.
Okay, so, and then Jim, why don't you come in with this bounce, and let's see that. So it's adding a little of that to be able to counter it. That's our live camera. Now go ahead and stop down, or go back to 1600. Okay, all right. Now go ahead and fly that bounce out for a second. There you go. And then put it back in. Nice. So it's just taking the edge off of that. And it's watch her eyes as well. It really lightens her eyes. Pull it out. So it just gives us a little punch in her eyes. And then bring it back in. Get it up in there a little more. There you go. Okay. You got to get your angle, though. Get your, like that. Right? You can come over here. Because what you're doing is you're bouncing that, reflecting it off, and bringing it into her face there. Okay? Now that's a little too much. So bring it down a little bit. There you go. Okay, now give me an off and on. Off and on. Okay, a little too much. And okay, reduce that. It's a little too bright. Yeah, bring it down. Yeah. Okay. So it's playing with that. You know, it kind of makes this a little more pleasing, gives some light into her eye. You can see it kind of reflected in the bottom of her eye there, and lowers the contrast on her. So give me a, right, nice. So it's, look how just the adding of that one source has really brought her, like, it's not so extreme in the shadow over on the side of her nose. It just really brightens the whole face up, but you're still, retaining some good contrast. Okay, what time is this at, Jim?
5:30 still.
5:30. Okay, awesome. All right, so Kai, you're gonna dolly the diffusion. So start as close as you can to her with just being out of frame, and then you're gonna move it. So let's lose the bounce there, Jim, so we don't have any influence of that. And yeah, there you go. Okay, up a little higher, there you go. Now slowly take it towards the source. Much harder. So let's put it right there. Kai, put it right up there. Get it real close to the light. All right, now can you give me where it was earlier? Yeah. So much softer in the underneath her chin, and softer overall on her face. Exposure, it probably is going to be getting it's brighter when it gets closer, usually. So because you're bringing that source closer to her face. Just imagine like a window that's 4 by 8, And if you're close to the window, your face is seeing the whole window. When you go way back over here, it's just a 4x8 source way far away. So we're increasing the size of it as it comes close to us, right? To what the face sees, relative to the face. Exactly. So let's just see what this does in regards to our light meter. So, okay, we're at 2, 8, and 7/10 with it there. Now move it all the way up into closer. Lower it down. Actually, it reduced the exposure, which I don't know why that would happen. Usually it intensifies it. But maybe it's because, come down a little bit. That's what it was. We weren't getting the whole thing. So it basically stays the same. Now let's see what half grid does. So pull that out of there, Freddie, and give me half grid right up next to the, okay, yeah, give it me right there. Now, okay, next to the light first. Okay. Okay, that's a 2 and 6/10. Now bring that thing way in here, Kai. A 1/10. Okay, so not that much. Not a big brightness change, but definitely a bigger, softer, more rappy kind of change. Okay, so now let's bring it to the Chanel angle, which is dead center, Kevin. So put the light at 6 o'clock. You guys can fly that out of there. Thank you. And what we're looking for now is we're looking for the same drop shadow on the left as it is on the right. And ho. A little more. Ho. Right there. Okay, so now I have the same drop shadow on this side as I do on that side. This is kind of that fashion angle, the angle that, kind of full frontal. So let's go ahead and fly in our diffusion. Let's try the half soft frost first. Okay. All right. Very nice. Really diffuses that underneath her chin very nicely. Makes her face look beautiful. She's glowing nicely. Jim, let's work on our light control here. Just bring that floppy this way a little bit. Yeah, come this way. There you go. I'm going to take that light down on the background a little bit. Okay, great. All right. Concentrate on her eyes, the reflection in her eyes now. Okay, so now fly that out. And now don't stay right there holding it, and then have somebody just so we can do a A-B real quickly. Okay, so you're going to slide out. Jim, already have the grid cloth in your hand. Okay, and you're going to do a hot swap. Ready? Yep. And action. Move with emotion. Ooh. Okay, so you can see how it changes. Give me A-B there, David. Okay, look straight ahead. See how the light in her eyes has been much bigger with the light grid cloth, the half grid, because if you look at this grid cloth, and Larry, blind the audience for me, please. Okay, all right. So what I want to show you is now come around, Kai, and put half soft frost in front of this light. Okay. All right. See how you can see the source through the diffusion. You physically see the light. Okay? All right, now let's bring the grid cloth in, Jim. Hold it away from the light a little bit. There you go. Now you don't see the source, right? The light itself is diffused with the grid cloth. So what I find is if you're doing a book light, then half soft frost is really kind of the thickest that you ever want to go with diffusion, because it would be just as simple to put a Fresnel up there and drive it straight through the light, and the quality is going to remain pretty much the same. Everyone gets all in these antics of, I'm going to put these big bounce sources up and diffuse and control and do all this stuff, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of crew, and if you're going to do that and you're going to put half grid or full grid in front of it, you've basically defeated the purpose of all that time and energy. Why I like light grid cloth, you can spin that around, Larry. Why I like light grid cloth compared to like 216 or half white diffusion or anything, because there's a yellow tint to the grid, which I like. I like people to look jaundice than pink, okay? I'm much more in the jaundice realm of the golds. I'd say full grid is more like tough Rolex or Lee 129 is what full grid is like. Full grid's thicker than 216. Warmer quality, more pleasing to the face. I just love that diffusion. When I come in for the final color grading, I'm sitting there right with the colorist telling them exactly what to do. I'm not spinning the wheels, but all of my my color and creative influence on the film is being done from me saying, that's too yellow, give me a little more red or orange, all this kind of stuff. So what we've done is we've taken a source and we've bounced it into a white diffusion, and then we're now diffusing it. So a book light is fire something in, you're creating a book. So you fire the light into a bounce, and then you're then diffusing it. So it's like a book. This is what this is all about. So, we're finding the emotion of our characters, what they're going to look like on one side compared to the other. If your character needs to be stronger and more pronounced, then maybe we're definitely going to go in this realm. I built this rig on my first film, and now I use it on every movie that I've ever done. And Rob Cohen, from the director of the Rat Pack, comes in, and he goes, "Oh my God, Hurlbut, what is that?" And I go, "It's just amazing. It's this rig, and it's this light study, and we move it around the track, and we find exactly the best side all of our actors are lit from." Oh God, Hurlbut. Okay, who's up first? Joe Montanga walks in, and he walks in with his beautiful tux, and he's sitting there, and Rob and him are talking, and it's all going well, and I'm slowly moving this light around, and I'm looking at it, and Rob's talking to him, and he just stops in his track. He goes, "Oh my God." I go, "Exactly." And he goes, "Oh, if he's lit from the left, he looks just like Dean Martin. But when he's lit from the right, he looks like Joe Montanga." Okay. Yeah. One for the light study. And then we were like, okay, but we can't be harnessed with that. We got to find out how to make him look like Dean Martin from the right side, because we're going to be in parameters when I cannot key him only from the left. So we started to move him around, and we positioned his face, and we found if we can light him from the right, if he gives us an eye and a half, kind of in a 3/4 profile, and he looked like Dean Martin. So that was our solution. Light him from the right, he couldn't look straight into camera. If he was looking straight into camera, I was definitely lighting him from the left side. And then with Don Cheadle came in, he had an eye prosthetic. Well, we found out which side that eye prosthetic looked good and which it did not look good. I don't want to find that out on the day of shooting. I want to know that information, and I can also pass it on to hair and makeup and wardrobe to kind of make adjustments. This is why you do these tests. It's very important. You can also work with hair and makeup if you know you're keying from the right. You walk into the room, the way it's all working and how it's going to be blocked, she's going to be lit from the right. Well, I do the first call to hair. It looks like we're going to be lighting her from the right-hand side. Or how are we looking for that? "Oh, that'd be perfect, Shane, no problem." They'll flip the hair if it works for our actress and for the scene. So we don't get all these shadows and everything across her, because I'm going to be shooting her from the right. Now, let's say this is the scenario. Can you kind of pull your hair down more on your left side of your face? So pull some of that out of, yeah. So now, and then bring it over the side of your, not that side, sorry, this side of your face. Just bring some more of this hair over to here. Maybe you got to untie it. Yes, exactly. Okay, and then open this side of the face up. So just slide this over to here, like that. Okay, so now let's drive the light around to that side, just to show an example. If we were going to key her from the right-hand side and her hair was like this, then it's obviously, if we wanted to not go frontal, go ahead and look, Christina, right in the center of the lens for us. Thank you. Okay, keep on going. Go, 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 Kevin. Go, 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 go. Okay. All right, let's pull that floppy back a little bit, guys. Okay. All right. See what's happening already? This is, just with a softer light. If we were lighting her in a scene where the wide shot, so when you're lighting wide shots, I tend to light wides a little contrastier, a little harder in light. So the light doesn't fly all over everywhere, because if you use soft sources, it's going to go everywhere and it takes a lot of time to control it. So we'd maybe go, this is kind of a harder source, not diffused. So we would definitely be getting shadows like this across her face if her hair was on that side. Now let's come around to the other side. But if her hair is like this and we lit her from the camera left side, then her hair is kind of open up to that whole scenario, right? And now you're not getting any kind of shadows or anything like that. All right, so now let's go ahead and put your hair exactly back how you had it for me, please. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's go back to 6 o'clock. We're going to start there, and then we're going to slowly drift around to the other side to see which side she looks the best from, or which side is going to show a specific emotion. There's times when I radio back to wardrobe or hair, and they're like, "There's no way we're flipping that." I'm like, "Okay, copy," but it's at least you've made the call to see. Okay, great. So now we're at 6 o'clock. Now let's go to the other side. So let's keep on moving, Kevin. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going. And let's hold right there. All right. So this is what I'd call where we're getting the drop shadow on this side of her face. We had it over there. Okay, let's bring in the half soft frost. And let's bring our light control in, Jim. We need to flop our floppy to the other side.
Can you swap in background too? Or do you...
Yep. Let's swap the background light as well, Freddie. There you go. Very nice, Jim. Okay. Now, do you have a side-by-side in this comparison? You're starting to see it come together here. Okay. And lighting one person from the other side, and it's not something you can really say, "Oh, it's this," or "Oh, it's that." It's just a feeling, and you're going to see it evolve very quickly. Okay. All right. So now let's move the light around to give us the nose shadow. So yeah, drop that diffusion and go to nose shadow position. So go, Kevin. You're going to create that nose shadow. Keep on coming, keep on coming. You're also creating the cheekbone, and hold. Come back a little bit, Kevin. Right there. Okay. Nose shadow. All right, fly that in, Kai. Yes, half soft. Okay, side by side. Okay. Huge. But I'm not even talking diffusion. I'm just talking the light and how it's taken on her face, right? Huge. You got to come down a little low. Here, let me help you with this. Here. right there. If you hold it like this, you can hold it for a long time.
Got it.
You want me to stop down a little bit?
Yeah, you can stop down a little bit. Okay, so let's fly that diffusion out. What time is that? It's like 7:10, 7:15. Okay, all right, let's keep on driving around. We're going to go for the wedge. Okay, okay, watch yourself, Kai. You're shadowing me. All right, come back, Kevin. Let's move that floppy back a little bit. Thanks, Freddie. Ho, there. Okay, let's lower the light down, Kevin. Hold there. All right, drive forward, Kevin. I'm trying to create that wedge on this side of her eyes. Right there. Okay, nice. Okay. All right, now bring in the half soft frost, okay? Okay. All right, you got side by side on that? All right, now let's go to half light. Lose the diffusion, Freddie. Okay, Kevin, start to bring it around half lit. And hold. All right, throw in half grid cloth now. Okay. Whoa. Huge difference. So that's half lit right there. Great. Okay, now let's go eyeshadow. Lose the diffusion, please. Okay, and come around a little more, Kevin. We're going to get that eyeshadow in here. Keep on going. Let's back up that floppy. Okay. All right. Okay. Go a little more, Kevin. There you go. So hold there. There's our eyeshadow from this side. Okay. So, neighborhood exercise time. I'm going to select the group of you three. Why don't you come up, put the light where you think it was the best on our beautiful model. And what we usually do is we set one person at the monitor, one person gets on the dolly, and then another person deals with diffusion. And then that way, one person directs everyone into the right pocket. Just what's on her face right now. Right now we're just looking at what's going to make her look the most beautiful, the quality, the most beautiful, the most flattering type of light on her face. If we want to say, okay, how do we make her look more powerful? That's going to be the next one, where you want to put that. But right now we're looking for just beauty and the most flattering on her face. Okay, where would you like that to be at? Okay, start dollying around. Here we go. Keep on going. Do some actors say what side they're best lit from? Absolutely. But then you work with people like Jane Fonda, she's been lit by every cinematographer in the business, and she didn't care which side I lit her from. She just wanted to look beautiful. And I told her I would absolutely deliver. If somebody asks you they're best lit from the right-hand side and you decide to light them from the left, you kind of don't want to do that because it's not whether they really know that they're best lit from the right. It's that they will start to lose confidence in you and also confidence in their performance, because they've been told by all of their handlers, by all of their agents, by all of their hair and makeup team that they look best from the right. And you want to honor that and be able to try to deliver that, because by doing that, it gives them a vote of confidence that you are looking out for them and their best interest. So in hopes, they will deliver the best performance. I never fill from the opposite side of the key, ever.
Why?
because I think it's all about light and shadow, and that's what we're going to go into in the afternoon. The light, any light that you use, never hops on the other side. Yeah, it's a whole different lighting style, and that's what we're going to learn. And what I found is the absolute most elegant, most timeless way to light, where everyone can look whatever direction they want to. They can move and flow, and you never have weird shadows. You never have blockage in ways, and it just feels like it's the most effective way I've found to light. The double eye light doesn't bother me at all. What bothers me is having a fill light come in from this side rather than this side. You know, opposites do not attract. It's creating this wonderful side here. Let's flop the light as well back there, Freddie. Because Serge is loving her lit from the camera right side, which I think looks beautiful. There's our contrast range. Now we have the darkness over here. We're using the background to separate out. We've gone with half soft frost, great, and a little circle bounce for her. Okay, very nice. Let's lower the light.
Do you typically try to keep about 45 degrees high? Change that kind of...
Yeah. So now it's all of a sudden it's like lighting all this stuff up underneath her chin, and we've lost that beautiful cheekbone shading that was there. Now go up with the light again, Larry. Okay. All right. Very cool. So what time are we at? We are at around 4:49 and 30 seconds. Okay, very nice, Serge. I like this. Okay, who else has it a different position? You guys? Okay, so why don't you hop up here and put it in a different position. So make her damaged. Yeah, go around a little more. There you go. Now you're getting that kiss of light on her right there. On her cheek. Okay? And then just throw half soft frost up in front of that a little bit. Yeah, it's okay. It can be in the frame, you know. It's just for so we know. What about lower on that light back there? Lower that light.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, let's bring that down. Boom down on that. Oh, Jesus, I love it. He goes, I'm going to take this and I'm going to see if this death ship lives up to its name. Okay? Jesus, you all right over there, Freddie? I thought he was almost crushing you. Okay, hold there. This is what I'm saying. The thing maims people. See, that really changed a lot there. I love how it's coming underneath her chin now. Look off camera left just a little bit, just off the lens. Or camera right. Yeah, sorry. No. Have her. Yeah, her left. Yeah. It's kind of nice. Yeah, bring that hair back on your back. Yeah, I love that. It's kind of messy and love that. All right. So we got one last one. Power. Okay. The three of you. Position the light where she looks powerful. Okay? Powerful, in charge. Right after this, after our break, we're going to get into the whole emotion thing and how I'm lighting. What I really want to show you in this sequence is what you look for on the face. Subtle cues of like just moving a light a little to the left or a little to the right, or when you suggested lowering the light so it was looking a little more unlit and not so directional. These subtleties is what this is all about. It's not, we're going to get into Crazy Beautiful. We're going to get into the whole analysis of that. This is, and especially in the backlight, when we go in the backlight, there's times when you're backlighting that it brings out her eyebrow shadow, and it's little nuances like where I'm looking with the nose. I mean, right now, you can see how that lower light is bringing the nose shadow, up her face, where before it was creating a very nice kind of wedge shape. So it's just looking on by just changing the height and via the quality. Okay, half soft frost we're going to use, okay. All right, very nice. 2x3, okay. If I'm creating this darker side on her face, then I'm liking to be able to create that three-dimensional quality where now I'm lighting something in the background to separate it instead of actually lighting up her face to bring out that side. So instead of how this would dissolve into the background if it wasn't lit, I'm actually lighting the background to bring her out. You'll start to see the methodology of it, but it's every situation that I go into, I light this way. And then depending on where the practicals are or how everyone's moving, I alter it to some extent. But most of the time, it's all coming from one side. And, I can come around to this side and I don't have a fill light or a bounce that's going to shadow my actors. They can look around a lot more too, because when the fill's on the opposite side, when they look into it, they can get shadows from this. Look to your right for me. See, there's no cross key coming in there. Now look to your left. Okay, that looks very beautiful when she looks there. Look just camera right, so your left. See, it's no. Yeah, come back there. Very nice, Christine. So that's, I find that you just have much more mobility. And what I'm also going to be teaching you is I don't light to marks. I light an area. And that's what the actors play in. And the light feels much more realistic. And the Rat Pack I lit to marks because that was exactly how the director wanted it. He wanted them to have the perfect backlight, the perfect key light, and the perfect fill light. But most of the movies that I'm doing, it's lighting an area and letting them play in it. And then, depending if they go in a different place or a different area, then changing that area a little bit. Okay, I really like what you got going here. The lower light definitely brings out, she looks more empowered. Let's boom up just a little bit, though. Ever so slightly. I like your negative fill over there with your, yeah. Oh, come back down. Yeah, right there is nice. Yeah, I'm liking what you guys got there. We got nice darkness in the background, so it's creating that three-dimensional quality. We got the separation over here. We got a nice neg fill in on her side there to kind of take that down. Now let's just flash the fill for the heck of it. Jim, turn that on and off if you don't mind. Okay, we could go even starker with the look, with no fill. Or we could bring in that little card to fill in the side of her nose if we wanted to. Okay, now boom up with that light just for the heck of it. Go all the way up. Let's see what the change does. You said vulnerable. Yeah. She's not empowered as much with the light higher. Okay, let's bring it back down. Yeah, right there. Wow, just a really nice change with just, again, the subtlety of, raising the light or lowering it. So, all right, awesome. Okay, 5 things to remember. The wedge, okay, which is that nice light coming in, just playing on the opposite side of Jay Hernandez here shaping his down shadow, his drop shadow, and just that beautiful quality of light, just wrapping it around. The drop shadow, looking for this contrast of, especially when you're going much more frontal with the light. I worked with Herb Ritz from 1991 to 1996. I lit almost every still frame that he composed with hot lights during that time period. He was a photographer that did not like strobes. He really loved to see it because he started in like just using natural sunlight. So when we did any kind of studio shoots, we used hot lights. This is Madonna lit with a 20K full spot is what we would do to get RZ67, and he was usually using an ISO of 64, and he wanted about this much depth of field. That required like an F64. The reflection in their eye, getting that light to be able to not be too high and come down in her eye and in his eye and reflect that beautiful depth and dimension, bring out the eye color. The nose shadow, coming around with the light, so we cast a nose shadow on her face, and then I'm with a circle bounce down in the corner here, ricocheting it off, kind of filling that in, and separating her cheek and her chin line from her dark hair, as well as the eye shadow. In this scene in Crazy Beautiful, I purposely put the light so it was not flattering. She was in this scene, which is the quinceañera, and she had dropped Carlos off, and he said, "Do you want to come in?" And she's like, "Sure." So she walks in to this amazing party where everyone's in formal attire, beautiful gowns, tuxedos, and she's in a t-shirt with this oily hair, and she looks kind of like a drowned rat. So I wanted her to feel like a fish out of water, that she did not fit in. So I lit her very imperfectly in this scene to convey that. Most of the time when I walk into a location, I am figuring out how I'm going to block the scene to work with the physical aspects of the location and where that key light can come from, whether it's a window, whether it's a doorway, whether it's a practical source or whatever, art department supplied me. But that's my motivation is from a realistic side. With the Rat Pack, it was all about taking realism and bending it, right? Does it make sense for Dean Martin to be walking through the Sands Casino with a 7K xenon strafing up from 2 stories, sending these shafts into this casino? No. Does it look cool? Absolutely. So for that movie, it was the right application because we wanted them to look larger than life. To their whole life, when they're off stage, they still want to feel like they're on it. So it's a juxtaposition. That's what we'll be learning today. We'll take something that's very reality-based with Crazy Beautiful and then mix it in more of the surreal world with the Rat Pack. On the set, you light with stand-ins as much as you can, and when I say light with stand-ins, they do everything. If they're walking through the front door and they're moving through and you're following with them, you're taking the Steadicam or the Movi or the dolly, you're moving with them, you're going everywhere they are, so you can look at the light quality and really get it to that point where you feel very confident to now bring in first team. And I'll pass on a little advice that it took me about 10 movies to learn. So now you can learn it now. I was a perfectionist, and a perfectionist is wonderful and debilitating all at the same time. Because when I would light a scene with my stand-ins and then the actors would come in and they would stand in and hair and makeup is doing all their adjustments, I'm doing everything I can to look at them and try to manipulate the light very quickly so we can then go. Well, we would roll the first take, and then after that, after they'd cut, I would say, I need 15 minutes. Okay? That is not what you ever want to do. You want to get the train going, and you want to get them in the pocket, and the director wants to get them in the pocket. And so if you throw the anchor out, then it's like, whoosh, everyone kind of settles, they let their guard down, it's not as fresh. So you want to be able to turn right around and say, going again, and get that director to be able to hone that performance. And if the light is not perfect, you got to be good with it. You got to just let it go and know that the performance is going to drive the emotion and that the script is going to do it. And your lighting is there to absolutely assist, but it doesn't have to be perfect to where you would absolutely want it. So it's being enough with, knowing yourself and knowing to kind of stop that perfectionistic, mentality and just letting go of the scene. And, once I started to do that, you really start the performances get even better. And the director feels, I light the scene as quickly as I can to be able to give him as much time with these actors as possible. And if he wants me to shoot with 2, 3 cameras, I'm doing that because I know the sacrifice of whatever I'm doing to light with 3 cameras, the performances are going to way outweigh that. The single camera mentality is something that I'm not, it's a perfect world, but if the performances don't resonate because of the single camera, then you've kind of defeated the purpose. This whole light study is really to just get the understanding of the placement of your first stroke and what that can mean to emotion. Now, after our break, we go into emotion and show the placement and lighting backgrounds and all that stuff and how it can take your performances even higher.